a thriving creative ecosystem that has birthed iconic movements like Motown and the Purple Rose Theater. Home to legendary musicians, writers, and artists, Michigan boasts a rich tapestry of cultural heritage known worldwide. Michigan Creates is a podcast series that will connect listeners with gifted artists and cultural institutions that are nurturing Michigan's vibrant creative landscape. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Michigan Creates. I'm your host, Ara Topouzian. Today's episode's a little different, just me sharing some reflections. June is Immigrant Heritage Month, and here in Michigan, Governor Gretchen Whitmer officially proclaimed this month as a time to recognize and celebrate the profound contributions immigrants have made to our communities. It's a celebration I feel deeply connected to, not just because I'm the grandchild of immigrants, but because so much of Michigan's creative energy, its heartbeat, comes from the diverse communities that have built their lives here, especially its artists. So today we're taking a moment to explore what immigrant heritage means in the world of the arts. Why it matters, what challenges artists face, and how we as a creative community can continue to lift up immigrant voices, not just this month, but all year long. So let's start with something that might seem obvious, but is worth saying out loud. Immigrant artists have shaped Michigan's identity for generations. From Detroit to Grand Rapids to small towns like Coldwater and Marquette, immigrant creators have added layers of story, texture, and meaning to our cultural fabric. Take Alejandro Reyes, a Mexican-American muralist in Southwest Detroit. His public art blends Aztec imagery with modern political commentary, bold colors telling bold truths. His work doesn't just decorate walls, it speaks to the immigrant experience of holding two worlds in your hands. There's also Farah Qurashi, a Pakistani-born textile artist living in Ann Arbor. Now, she weaves traditional South Asian motifs with contemporary environmental themes. One of her pieces was recently displayed at the University of Michigan Museum of Art. This massive tapestry made of upcycled saris, exploring themes of displacement and renewal. Then there's Leonid Popov, a Ukrainian jazz pianist who settled in Flint about a decade ago. His blend of Eastern European folk scales and classic American jazz feels like a cultural handshake, two traditions greeting each other in harmony. He teaches kids during the week and plays local venues on the weekends, quietly making space for beauty in a city that's seen its share of challenges. These artists and so many others like them are not exceptions. They're part of a powerful, ongoing story. As someone who plays traditional Armenian music, I understand what it feels like to carry culture through your art. The kanun, my instrument, is over 1,000 years old. Every time I perform, I'm not just making music, I feel like I'm honoring history. I'm keeping something alive that could so easily be lost. And that's what so many immigrant artists are doing, preserving memory while simultaneously building something new. But let's just not pretend it's that easy. Immigrant artists face real barriers. Some are obvious, like language, financial access, or immigration status. Others are more subtle, like not seeing your story reflected in the dominant cultural institutions, or constantly being asked to explain your work through a lens that doesn't quite fit. So let me give you an example. A friend of mine, an Iranian-born choreographer, told me once that every grant panel asked her to define her work in terms of trauma or conflict. Can't I just dance? She said. Can't I just make something beautiful? There's this pressure sometimes for immigrant artists to perform their difference, to be a lesson or a symbol. But art is more than identity, it's also joy, it's humor, experimentation, play. So if we really want to celebrate immigrant heritage, We have to allow for the full expression of immigrant creativity, not just the parts that fit neatly into a narrative. Now let's talk a little about the economic impact, because the truth is immigrants don't just add cultural value, they contribute to Michigan's economy in real and measurable ways. According to the American Immigration Council, immigrants make up nearly 8% of Michigan's population, but they account for 11% of business owners in the state. That includes arts businesses like dance studios, design firms, performance venues, and galleries. In fact, some of our most vibrant cultural spaces are immigrant-led. Think about the Arab American National Museum in Dearborn, the Caribbean Cultural and Carnival Arts Center in Lansing, or the Bangladeshi American Creative Collective in Hamtramck. These aren't just spaces for art, they're spaces for community, education, and belonging. But again, it's not always easy to keep these spaces running. Many immigrant artists and art organizations struggle to access consistent funding or to navigate systems that aren't always built with them in mind. That's why support matters. And not just financial support, though yes, that's part of it, but also platforming, mentorship, invitation, collaboration, advocacy. So if you're listening to this and wondering, well, what can you do and where do you start? Here's a few things. 1, attend a cultural event hosted by immigrant artists. Another, buy art from immigrant creatives, whether it's a painting, an album, a handmade item. Follow and share their work on social media. Invite them into your artistic or organizational spaces. Support policies that expand access, like language equity, grant accessibility, or transportation. And most of all, listen. Learn. Ask questions with respect. Let artists define their own narratives. So before I close, I want to say this directly to the immigrant artists out there, whether you're newly arrived or second, third, even fourth generation. Your work matters. Whether it's rooted in tradition or completely experimental, whether you perform on big stages or at local community centers, you are adding something important to Michigan's creative story. Your voice helps expand what's possible. Your presence makes our state more honest, more complex, and quite honestly, more beautiful. And for that, I thank you. That's it for today's episode of Michigan Creates. I hope you'll take some time this month to engage with immigrant art in your community, and not just in June, but throughout the year. I'm Ara Topouzian. Thanks for listening, and as always, keep creating, keep connecting, and keep celebrating the many voices that make Michigan what it is. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Michigan Creates. We hope you've had fun diving into the creativity of our state. From Motown melodies to artisanal wonders, Michigan never fails to dazzle. But hey, the creativity doesn't stop here. Connect with us online, subscribe to our channel so you don't miss new episodes. Help us spread the word and also share your own artistic stories. So until next time, I'm Ara Topouzian, and I want you to keep those musical instruments in tune, keep those paintbrushes moving, and keep those cameras rolling. Remember, in Michigan, the only limit is your imagination. Stay creative.